Good morning everyone and welcome back to the bakery. Today is actually a relatively special video because we're going to be redoing one of my previous challenges. At one point, this challenge was my most viewed video at 2.4 thousand views, but there's a lot I could have done better. So, as per somebody's suggestion, instead of using pebbles, we're gonna full send it and see if I can beat Elden Ring with only rocks. As we choose the astrologer and turn him into what was once everybody's favorite stone-faced strongman, I want to say Aidan's actually making his version of this challenge as I'm recording this video, and you should definitely go check that out. Other than that, let's go over the rules. In my previous challenge, my restrictions didn't even hardly make any sense at all. I was restricted to using rocks, but I didn't use the gravity sorceries. My reasoning was I could only use glintstone spells that had a visible projectile inside the blue energy, and I really have no idea why I did it that way. Anyway, in redoing this challenge, I'm changing our restrictions to gravity spells, specifically only ones using rocks. Meaning, we have a total of 3, count 'em up people, 3 spells to use. There is a 4th one, but it comes from the most unfair broken boss they've ever made, so we won't be grabbing it. I don't really have anything to say about them. I don't play sorcerer. So, alright, we have 3 spells to use. How are we gonna counter that? By being allowed any catalyst, armor, and rings. You're watching a Dark Souls fan. There's gonna be Dark Souls turn! Finally, we aren't allowed to use summons. Our goal is to beat the game and hopefully every shard bearer. I will not be venturing into the DLC. One consort Radon fight was enough for me. Anyway, with all that out of the way and our loincloths sufficiently soiled, we jump off a cliff and get into it. Immediately upon seeing the grace of the world for the 100th time, we of course go straight to claiming our complimentary gonki, 1 per customer. Then we head to K-Lid to get our first 2 starting items of the game. The meteorite staff, solid, then rock sling. We use runes I picked up to level up to use it, and let me just say right off the bat, this thing is demolishing everybody. Just look at what it did to Margit. Holy cow. After essentially pressing the skip button on the first 3 hours of gameplay, we rush through Stormvale like I always do and eliminate Godric. Wow, that was fast. Now that we have a moment to breathe though, seeing as we're out looking for our next foe, I have a controversial opinion for you guys to give me some of that sweet, sweet audience interaction in the comments. I think Elden Ring, as well as Bloodborne, are both severely overrated.
What?
I know that sounds bad.
I just think the Souls series is vastly superior. Don't get me wrong, Elden Ring and Bloodborne are both absolutely phenomenal games, and I want the PC remake of Bloodborne as much as the next guy. I just think they get way too much attention and praise for what they are, in comparison to the Souls series. Dark Souls Remastered is my favorite. I really want them to remake it like they did with Demon Souls, and unless they make Dark Souls 4, chances are it'll always be my number 1, flaws and all. Anyway, now that we have that bit of Mancake's lore out of the way, we make our way to the Royal Grave Everjail, grabbing the Academy key and sending a ghost back to the grave on the way. Then we face off with the one holding our next spell, and we grab our next attack, Meteorite. All we have left now is a boss spell, then we have all of our attacks, onto Reynala. We rush through the academy, and within a couple minutes, we exterminate Red Wolf of Radigan, who moved way too fast for our spells a lot of the time. And it's on to Reynala herself. I decide it'll probably be easier to go to Altus first to gather stuff and unlock the Radon fight. So we gather both sides of the Dectus medallion, then take the elevator to the 2nd floor, where we gather some golden seeds and head into a butthole, transporting us straight to the end of Redmane Castle, and it's time to face off against General Radon. We definitely struggled against him, and it took a long time, but it was not too bad in all honesty. So we purchased the rest of our iron armor set, buy my favorite early game helmet, then off to Reynala with our extra FP and levels. I realized the Radigan icon is actually super close by too, so we grab that real quick, then head to the Round Table Hold for the first time this playthrough, just to further our pouch collecting ventures. I'm gonna be the best damn kangaroo this side of the Pacific. After that, we rematch Reynala. With her submission, we take her scepter from her, our endgame weapon. We get a couple somber bell bearings and bring the staff closer to being ready for insertion. Bully some old man for his green rocks, then we face off against Draconic Sentinel, who, after a bunch of attempts, we move on to somewhere else. Our spell's cast times are so long and the damage payoff just isn't enough. We're gonna work on upping that, so we go to Mount Gelmir. We eliminate Maneater Milfdrid, then enter Volcano Manor. We defeat somebody who is able to bring over everyone's favorite Bloodborne weapon, then we move through Gelmir until we raise a bridge, find Peter Griffin, and decide it's time to go back to our vice, where we, thank God, traded for the second time this challenge. So we sell his stuff and level up, then move into the big city where we unlock the Avenue Balcony Bonfire and throw rocks at Tree like Caveman. We make our way to Morgoth, fighting through Goldfree, being victimized. Then we walk through some gas and face Morgoth, where we got our ass handed to us. So we grab the Graven School Talisman, giving us a 4% boost to our damage, which should come out to an extra 20 points total. After that, we grab the Magic Shrouding tier for our Physic, then try again. After a couple tries, I find out the Magic Shrouded Cracked tier does actually nothing for us. I guess the rock spells are purely physical damage. Aidan lied to me. Regardless, we defeat him. Find this man wasn't expecting visitors, hence he hasn't cleaned his house. Get our intelligence up to 49 and move into the mountaintop of the giants. From here, we grab the next smithing stone bell bearing, then upgrade the staff a few more times, eradicate a Japanese man, and move up to the fire giant. We die a lot. So, I decide we're gonna go get our final spell. We grab one half of the Halig Tree Medallion, and oh yikes, let's try Noble again, and eliminate him on only our second try. Hooray. Anyway, we get to another butthole and make it into Rykard's birth canal. Then we approach him. We pick up the Serpent Hunter just because. He's a gimmick boss, it's not like it matters. Then we get into it, where we die a few times. But I'm not gonna give up on our rocks. So I get a couple of tiers that'll help our damage negation, then we level up and we're only 5 points away from being able to use our endgame weapon. So we respec, and now all we have left is collecting our last spell and finishing the upgrades for our catalyst, which is still just barely worse than our current one. But when it has a better scaling, we can main hand that one and hold the meteorite staff on our back so we still get the effect. So just like Iron Man in a cave with a box of scraps, we work on it until we have our cold pickle. In other words, our magnum opus. With that, our endgame weapon is at +9, and we only have one upgrade left, so we hold the meteorite staff in our offhand and head back to where we reach second phase and immediately die to an exploding rock. So we eliminate Commander Nile and grab the other half of the medallion, moving on to the consecrated snowfield, and we end up getting our last upgrade material from an invasion. Anyway, we finish leveling our weapon, then we face off against Astel, Stars of Darkness, who we promptly eliminate on our third attempt and collect his spell.
Oh yeah!
We go back to the fire giant to try our spells out at least, and it's definitely amazing but expensive, so I'll have to use it at the right times. Anyway, with that, we just barely have enough FP to defeat Fire Giant the next morning, officially surpassing how far we got in the original recording, and light ourselves and our girlfriend on fire. If I can't have her, nobody can. We wake up in a place that strangely resembles a floating island full of ruins and temples in the middle of and surrounded by countless cyclones. Strange how that's what I get from it. Then we head back to the mainland to finish some things we started. We unlock Mogwin Palace, and even though I'm a little nervous and unsure because I always have trouble with him for some reason, we challenge our 5th shard bearer, Moog. Wow, it definitely was not easy, mainly due to the biggest problem of the run, these spells' casting speeds. We did it though, meaning we only have 2 shard bearers left, Melania, and who we move on to next, Rykard, who, after a couple rounds, I decided to become a real challenge runner and do math. So, I first checked Ostel's meteorite, where at the hard cap, one meteorite deals 900 damage. We aren't at the cap, but I used that as our approximation to give the maximum benefit. So, if we hold the spell down, our FP allows us to send out 13 meteorites. 13 times 900 is 11,700, meaning if every one of the meteorites for the spell hit the target, with 99 intelligence, it would deal just under 12,000 damage. Both of Rykard's health bars added up come out to a total of about 90,000 units. This means we'd need a minimum of 8 cerulean flasks. Keep in mind, however, this is assuming every meteorite hits Rykard, and due to his lava pool, that's almost certainly impossible, and definitely not sustainable for the duration of the fight, meaning that approach is out the window. However, we can look at Rock Sling, being a much more accurate spell. So, with our current FP, we get 8 casts, plus our absolute maximum of 11 cerulean flasks puts us at a total of 88 casts of Rock Sling. When all 3 rocks connect, the damage adds up to 1341 on weak spot, which isn't too hard on first phase Rykard. So 1341 times 88 equals 118,000 and some change. That's definitely more than enough damage. However, that would be doing it with absolutely no heals. So let's assume a minimum of 3 heals. That puts us at 8 flasks, meaning we really have 85,824, which isn't enough to kill him. So we would need to kill Rykard with 2 heals available to us or less, and while staying in range for our boulders to make contact every cast, which also happens to be the completely perfect and preferred distance for every single one of the attacks in his moveset. So with that knowledge, we took 3 hours to do it. But eventually, through the power of arithmetic, We killed Rykard with only Rocksling. 1 shard bearer to go. After that, we head back to the consecrated snowfield to light up the absolute worst puzzle of the entire game. Seriously, who made this crap? Get to the Halig tree, fight the actual knight that projected her spirit at us, then reach Melania, where we step in to try our luck. After a couple tries, I decide we'll progress the game up to Radigan, and then we'll come back. She's the last shard bearer anyway. We move through Farum Azula, and would you believe I forgot the worst fight in the game exists? Surprisingly enough, we get through it on our second attempt. I am so happy about that information. Anyway, we get to Malekith, who I almost eliminated on our first attempt. Oh wow, this will be such an easy fight, is what I thought. Nope. No. I was completely wrong, because he ended up being the hardest and most frustrating fight of the entire game. Never have I been angrier at a game, and I never get angry at games. So we went and grabbed the Ritual Sword Talisman and Dragon Crest Great Shield with the hope that these will be the little boosts we need, and we finally exterminate him. We reach the Ashen Capital and grab the Erdtree Favor +2. Then we head to Gideon, dealing with him in a manner that finally rewards us for the difficulty he put us through in the Mike Tyson challenge. Then we head up to the Grace outside Godfrey's arena, and now I need to decide who I'm eliminating first. So I decide to eliminate our final shard bearer, where I really start to question. How the hell is it that Rocksling has been able to poise break the heaviest bosses without much effort, but these super light, low poise ones like Melania and Malekith take like 7 or 8 consecutive attacks to stagger? Because of our cast time, Melania having the tendency to dodge twice consecutively, the lack of stagger, her ability to close distance, and her healing canceling the damage we did because her frame is so small, usually only 1 or 2 if we're lucky hit, we decide to try our luck against Godfrey. Godfrey gave us a little bit of trouble, but he was far from the worst boss of the run. Thankfully, he didn't try to dodge really, so we just had to bait out some of his attacks with a longer recovery. So now we're at a crossroads. We can either finish the game, or we can go after Melania. So I take a short break and spend a time thinking. Then I decide we'll try Melania. But before we do that, oh my god, would you look at that? It's our second time doing math. So, due to a combination of Melania's hitbox and distancing, 90% of the time, 2 of our 3 boulders miss. Regardless, we can only get 1 attack off where they all hit, and we're always punished when we do, because of the final combination that's going to make this fight nearly impossible. Our cast speed versus Melania's maneuverability. Melania can jet across the entire arena in less time than it takes us to cast. Combine that with only a couple of semi-punishable attacks, and for some god-awful reason, not being able to stun her with each boulder cast, we will always end up dying before her unless we have some really good RNG. Her waterfowl dance is relatively easy to avoid if you know how to move through it, but that's not sustainable with the DPS we have, and shouldn't be something we count on. So still, 39 casts doesn't seem too bad. In fact, that's only about 5 cerulean flasks, meaning we could still have 6 heals. In a perfect world, yes, but this world sucks. So really, when you add in all those other factors, this fight really seems and might actually be impossible. I don't even want to use Astel's Meteorite. I tried a couple times, and either the wind-up is so long we get hit, or it only hits Melania once because she has iframes while knocked down. So we have the Stone Barbed Cracked tier, and hopefully that will help, but just in case, I do have an ace up my sleeve. After a few more attempts on her, it's looking like we'll have to bring out the big guns. So here we go. I had the idea to essentially give us infinite meteorite casts for a little bit, and hopefully, if we're close enough, it'll keep her in a loop where it's just damaging her over and over and over. So we grab the Cerulean Hidden tier, then we head back. Didn't work. So we're gonna finish the game, then come back. We head into the fight with Radigan, with a tingle in between my cheeks, and oh my god! Time to do more math. So in all, we need 47 casts, which would mean rounding up 6 flasks. The thing is, Radagon has no attacks with long recoveries, meaning we need to get far away and bait out a long attack, the only one being his zooming hammer slam. That would work for getting through Radagon's first phase. His second phase, however, he can teleport, which means the fight with him does become impossible. There's no opportunities to damage him with our rocks beyond that first half of his health bar, and it would really all be up to luck. So in all, am I skilled enough for it? Hell no! So after a few more tries, I make the decision that we could not beat Elden Ring with only rocks. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video despite my failure. Make sure you like and subscribe and stay tuned for more challenges in the future. I don't really have much to say about this challenge. Everything was really backwards as far as expectations and difficulty are concerned. Like, I was able to consistently poise break Godfrey in 3 attacks, but Melania would take 5, 6, or sometimes 7. I'm not sure if this challenge is even completely possible, but only somebody more skilled than me is going to be able to eliminate Melania and Radagon Elden Beast. Kyro has an Elden Ring video coming out today too, so you should definitely go check that out. I have it linked in the description and it should have popped up in the corner. Anyway, that's all I have for you guys today. So, as always, have a fantastic day.